Hey y'all. So we got Fran today. Fran is a classic benchmark. We do it a whole lot, a few times a year. Love this one. So we're gonna have a 10-minute time cap on this one. What we have is 21, 15, 9 reps for time. We use it as a testing workout. Thrusters, 95, 65 are the RX weights. This should fall somewhere between 35 and 50% of a max. Then we've got pull-ups. You can kip on these, do whatever style pull-up you've got. So let's kind of talk about scaling here. If this is the first time you're kind of doing it and you're not using one of the RX numbers and your technique is pretty good for thrusters, then we're gonna push it. We're gonna go somewhere between that like 45, 50% number. That way we can overreach a little bit. And we might overreach with the style of pull-ups we're doing too. That way we can set a benchmark and then time and time again, retest until we're at a point where we're kind of at or below that 35% number, and then it's time to go heavier. So that's kind of what we're thinking about as far as scaling with pull-ups. We can scale it with kipping pull-ups. We can scale it with the seat kip pull-up. We can change it to banded pull-ups. We can use ring rows, but we want a way that you can recreate it. Jumping pull-ups is a great way to do it on this one because it keeps that heart rate really, really high. So there's a lot of variations. You just want to pick a variation that you can recreate and recreate and recreate. To make these numbers make sense, 5 pull-ups needs to be easy, not hard in any way. If 5 is hard in the slightest bit of way, just means we're using a variation that's probably a little too hard for 21, 15, 9. Which is okay. We'd rather you be doing a harder variation and building on that variation than scale it too much. So other things we can do is go like 15, 12, 9 as a rep scheme for the pull-ups. And we can change the reps down to keep you doing the, progress you up to the harder pull-up exercise. And then over time, just like we might go heavier with the thrusters, we can up the reps in the pull-ups. So 21, 15, 9, the fastest people in the world get this done under 2 minutes. It's pretty incredible. It's unbroken, and it's not just unbroken, it's fast unbroken. And it is just right to it, and they just bot back and forth real fast. Most people are gonna be needing to use some rep schemes here. So if you've never gone unbroken before, I recommend just going smooth on the reps, and then when you retest, later on down the road is where you can pick up the speed on the reps. But almost everybody, just smooth reps is going to be the way to go. With the thrusters, if you're going a little heavier than you're used to, 777 is a great way. If you're closer to that 35% mark, then maybe 11 and 10 for the first round and then trying to go unbroken. Or if you've done it before, then I'd recommend coming out and trying it unbroken. But I wouldn't try and go unbroken unless you have done this before with the weight and you're retesting and kind of know. Most people, if it's your first time, go 777 and then see what happens there. And then if you've done that and you've gotten a reasonable score and you're ready to see like how can I push it, 11-10 is a pretty decent way, but it's a pretty nasty way to start. So this needs to be really within your wheelhouse. Pull-ups, best are going to go unbroken. 3 sets, 777 is a good way on these things to go. But also some people, if you're overreaching, maybe sets of 3 to 5 might be what you need to do. Just know in this workout, no matter how we're breaking stuff up, it's almost always the round of 15 where it's really easy to try and get yourself comfortable and take those extra 5 seconds of breaths in between sets and kind of take a little bit more time. So just know that it's not about how fast you go in the round of 21. We need to get it done, but it's really how aggressive do we attack the round of 15. Once we get to the 9, we'll figure it out from there. So it's just battle that round of 15. And for me, it's usually in that first kind of set of thrusters on the round of 15 is where I have that fight or flight moment, and I got to make my choice. And we talk about it a lot, is you got to make that choice on how you're going to react before the workout starts. So if you haven't thought about what you're going to do when it feels like this, or what you're going to do if you have to break it up like that, if you haven't thought of those scenarios, then it happens, and now you have choices to make. But if you're expecting thruster number 5 on the round of 15 to feel awful, when it happens, it's not a surprise. And if it doesn't happen, what a good surprise. So think ahead. Just know that when you're doing your first set on the 21, the first 10 should feel extremely easy if you're going to go unbroken. If they're hard in any way, you got to put it down. On the 15, you kind of have to feel it out. But if you're at 5 and it's hard in any way, we got to put it down to rest a little bit. Maybe try and go 8 and 7. And if it feels great, just keep going, keep going, keep going. So it's a fun one. I would say once you get your time below 4 minutes, it's time to bump up pull-ups, thrusters, or whatever it is. And then once you're kind of in those RX ranges, anything under 5 is incredible. Sub 4 is really good, and world class is in the 2s. So amazing. Best in the world is under 2. It's incredible what those people can do. But we usually put a 10-minute time cap on it. Just remember, especially on the first set of thrusters, everyone comes out holding their breath. So breathe, 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 breathe. You got to breathe and be relaxed and aggressive at the same time. Talk to y'all soon.